Hi Capricorn, this is your horoscope for February 2017. Thank you for joining me. On the 4th of February, Venus goes into Aries in your 4th house. Now, Venus is the planet of beauty and creativity and love, and in Aries, it's very focused on moving forward and getting things done. It's also very much focused on the self. You also have a lot of other energy in that 4th house at the beginning of the month. You have Mars, the archetypal male principle in Aries, which is very much about getting your needs met and thinking about the self. And then Uranus, the planet of rebellion and eccentricity in Aries, which is very much about, I'm going to do things my way. So all of those sitting in your 4th house here at the beginning of the month means that when it comes to family matters and people who are close to you, you're really going to be very much focused on your perspective of things, the way you want things, and it's not the ideal time to kind of build bridges with people because you're not going to be particularly compromising. On the 5th of February, Jupiter goes retrograde and it stays in retrograde until the 10th of June. Now, Jupiter is one of the outer planets. The outer planets spend quite a lot of time in retrograde, so it's not as significant as when the personal planets go retrograde. Personal planets, Mercury, Mars, and Venus, because they don't have such a direct influence and impact on your personality and you as an individual. So Jupiter is good luck, good fortune. Even in retrograde, it will continue to give you good luck and good fortune. And it's sitting in your 10th house of career. So this is a really nice time for you, Capricorn, to work on your career where you wanted to go and to create new opportunities. But also when Jupiter goes retrograde, it's a nice time to reflect and to reevaluate what you've been doing already. So think about your career. Where is it that you're going? This is a really nice time to form a plan, to really look at where you see yourself in 5 years from now and what you really truly want to be doing. And by engaging with that process, you'll get a lot of good insights which will serve you. As someone once told me, is that careers need planning. Okay, so on the 7th of February, Mercury goes into Aquarius, and that's even more helpful now when it comes to work and money because that's in your 2nd house. Mercury is the communication planet, the planet of ideas. And in Aquarius, it is very, very reasonable and very scientific, and it thinks on an even keel. Your transiting midheaven is also in Aquarius, and so is your sun. All in Aquarius. So you're really going to see yourself as someone who works, someone who does a good job, someone who wants to work in a sense that makes a positive contribution, and also to be rewarded for the work in a way that's consistent with what you're actually putting in. So you're going to start to think very clearly about prosperity, abundance, the way you earn your money, whether you enjoy the way you make your money or whether there are changes that need to be made or changes that you want to make. Mercury is really ideas and inspiration, and it's that inner voice that really guides you. So it's really important to tune into that. You can trust it this month in February. It will give you lots of good insights and inspiration so that you can make changes. On the 11th of February, we've got the full moon in Leo, and it's also a lunar eclipse. So I'm going to make a separate video on the full moon and new moon just to go into a little bit more detail. But as far as you're concerned, Capricorn, the full moon happens in Leo in your 8th house. So the full moon in Leo is this big ball of energy that just kind of combusts internally, and the 8th house is the house of kind of other people, institutions, bureaucracy, officialdom, me versus this big group of other people, David and Goliath. Okay, so there's going to be a great sense of enthusiasm about the work that you're doing, about the institution you belong to. At the same time, that is kind of in conflict with what you've been thinking about this whole time. Is this right for me? Am I doing the right things? Am I earning enough money? Am I doing the right job? So it's almost like you could potentially become a victim of your own success if you're working in a company that sells pharmaceutical products which really aren't helpful to people, for instance, and you have this big success, you're the biggest salesperson in your region, then that kind of success can derail you from the reflection that you've been doing on whether this is actually suitable for you. Okay? Now, it's not just a full moon, it's also a lunar eclipse. So the eclipse interrupts this full moon energy, and it's an eclipse that's on the north node, so it's pulling energy in. So you will have a great sense of confidence. Eclipses and the effects of eclipses last for about 6 months. So you will have great confidence in your own abilities and your own successes. Use the success that you've had in your existing job or the things that you're working on personally, if you're retired or if you're a student, and think about how you can use that ability and that skill set in a way that feels more congruous to who you really are. And think about whether you are in the right place or whether you want to make changes. The North Node in itself is in Virgo, and that is about really getting grounded and practical and making good decisions and getting rid of the bad stuff and making space for the good stuff. I'm sorry, I'm talking loud because it's raining a little bit and I want you to hear me over the rain. Now that's the 11th of February. On the 14th of February until the 1st of March, we've got Mars, the personal planet, and Pluto forming a square with each other, and this is when they're 90 degrees apart. Now Mars, I've talked about, that's sitting in your 4th house, and that's causing kind of conflict and real a sense of being somewhat egocentric when it comes to family. But when it combusts, when it meets with Pluto, it's really a big deal because these two only square each other once every 2 years, and it really raises the threat level. Okay, so the conflict or the experiences that you may be having in family may make you think about seeing yourself in a different way, and it may have a knock-on effect to the way you see yourself at work. So let's say you have been working very, very hard in a job that you loathe and despise because you're in a good marriage and you've got 6 children and you're the only kind of income provider and you really have to do it. And you've not questioned that up until now, but the conflict here inherent in this chart may make you think of, what am I doing all of this for? Am I really truly happy? So there's really the potential for structures that have been in place for a long, long time and that you have not questioned to come undone as a result of conflict. So the best way to move forward and to use the energy this month is to focus and to become reflective on what you want to do career-wise, but not to do it out of with the fuel of that reflection being spite or dissatisfaction or anger. Think about it in general. Focus on what you can do in your working life, what changes you can make, and stay away from family conflicts. It's really, that's the area of your chart that is most inflammatory here in February. Also on the 14th of February, going through until the 9th of March, we've got Mars and Uranus conjuncting each other in your 4th house. And a conjunction basically is when 2 planets meet. And when they meet, their energies come together and they mix. So we've got Mars, this super self-interested soldier, coming together with Uranus, the rebel, electricity, and chaos. And that in your 4th house really could give you the notion that I am going to lay down the law, I'm going to say the way it is, and anyone who doesn't comply with that or sees it differently is out. You know, really to become very uncompromising and really, really super, super rigid, and that's not helpful. The thing that's helpful in this chart in February for you guys, Capricorn, is to think clearly about how to create abundance and how to make your working life better. That is really where you can make the most progress. Now that energy continues throughout the month until the 26th of February, when Mercury goes into Pisces in your 3rd house, and it joins your South Node, the Moon, the Sun, Neptune, and Chiron. And that's very interesting because you start to think very differently now, not about money, but about your way of expressing yourself, about your feelings, and you may even look back on what has happened in your most personal family relationships over the month of February. It's not just Mercury going into Pisces on this day. On the 26th of February, there's a new moon in Pisces, which is also a solar eclipse. So we've got 2 eclipses this month, and the effect of an eclipse can be felt for up to 6 months after the actual eclipse takes place. So first of all, the new moon in Pisces pulls in lots of this Pisces energy, and it makes you very self-sacrificing, and it makes you focus on other people, and it makes you put yourself last, which is a complete 180 to how you've been the whole month and how you continue to be to some extent with Venus, Mars, and Uranus sitting in Aries in your 4th. Okay, so you may feel a little bit uncomfortable. Should I just throw the towel in and say, yes, you're right, never mind? Or should I stick to my guns and really dictate what's happening? It's not just a new moon though, it's a solar eclipse, okay? And it's a solar eclipse on the south node, so there's an opportunity to let go of disappointment and argument and conflict. So this time of the month you can patch things up, you can detox from the negativity, you can build a new bridge and find a new way forward to come together and to find a sense of agreement and a sense of unity in which you all benefit and it's not just your way or the highway. So that's what I get for you in February here. It's really, really productive when it comes to your working life and your financial life. If you would like a private reading with me, please get in touch via my website. We can look at your birth chart based on your place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth, and then I can put these transits around your birth chart to see specifically how this is going to influence you. Visit the website gregoryscott.com, click on the readings tab to order your reading with me there. Please remember to subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I'll speak to you next month.